The next topic in this course, in our series of tutorials on commands in the command line, is copying a file and directory actually. So we saw how to create a directory, how to create a file. Now we're going to see how to make a copy of a directory or a copy of a file. And the command is cp for Linux, copy for Windows. And we're going to look at examples of those, right? So when we look at the cheat sheet, it is part of file and directory management. And it's CP for copy. Quite easy to remember. That's the one we're going to look at. All right. Before we get to the main part of the tutorial, I want to remind you this is part of a full course. It's a free course on my site that I call Engineering Toolbox. It's a collection of different topics. It's a bunch of mini courses in one big course that I meant for somebody just getting into tech, learning how to code, learning how to automate. There's a lot of different tools that will not be part of the main thing you're learning, but you still have to know. And I call them essential tools for an engineer. So it's a course that is configured in a course format, really focused and less distraction. So I definitely think you should consider taking that course. It's free, and I'm going to put the link in the description. All right. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe so you get notification when I create videos. All I do is help people learn automation, help people learn QA, and break into the tech field in general. So you would really enjoy my content, and I focus on education. All right, so subscribe and like the video. All right, so let's get back to the main part of the tutorial. Okay, so we're gonna go to the terminal and literally just start copying. As you can see, the way it works is copy, CP, the file to be copied and to copy to, right? The old file and the new file. The old file needs to exist because to copy it, the file has to exist, and the new one you just come up with a name for it. It is important, right? When you're doing a directory, it's the exact same command, but you got to pass in -r for recursive, because when you copy in a directory, you want to also copy the content inside of it. That's really the main point of copying a directory. So you got to tell it to copy recursively. So we'll go inside and copy what's inside. And if there's more folders inside, and there's a folder inside of a folder inside of a folder, it's going to recursively just copy the whole thing. So when you're doing a directory, that is important, okay? So let's look at our file structure. We have the sample. We just work on that directory. We have sample one, and there are two files. I'm going to go to the terminal one. At the terminal, I'm going to clear. I do ls, and we have this two files. Let's say we have foobar.py. I want to make a copy of it. I'm going to do cp, okay, foobar. How did I type that so fast? Because I didn't. I hit tab. I typed fo and I hit tab, and it finished it for me. Make sure you do that, because be efficient, right? Then the new file. I can say new foobar.py. If I do ls, the new file is created. I literally just copied it, right? I'm going to copy this guy here. Copy example file.txt to new example.txt. I'm just going to call it that. ls. There you go. Okay. Now I can copy the new one. Where is this? The new example here, right? I'm going to copy that. Cp this file to .to.txt. That's just a name. That's a valid name. You can do some name dot something dot, and lastly the extension. So if I hit enter, and if I do ls or ls-la, you can see all of those are copied. So if you copy a file, it's going to copy the content of the file as well. All right, so that is just simple. How to copy a file on Mac. Let's look at it in a window real quick. So when we go to the cheat sheet, I mean, obviously this can change anytime, right? The format and everything. But when we look at this copy, you actually type out copy. So let's take a look. I'm going to do cls to clear, do dir. So let's say we have this file name.txt. So I'm going to do copy, spell it out, file name.txt, space, new file name.txt. All right. If I do dir, also we get a success message here. It says one file copy. And in Linux and Mac, we don't get that message. If we don't get any error, we just assume everything is good. So here we can see it actually did copy that file. So copy, let's say another file, my file, right? My file.txt to give it a totally new name, right? I can say foobar.txt. I literally just copied that, okay? So that's pretty much it. There's nothing like copy, all the file to be copied, and the new name. Same thing on the Mac. I do want to show you to copy a bunch of things. For example, here, well, copying a bunch of things actually doesn't matter at the same time. This was something I was just thinking out loud, pretty much. Now let's look at how to copy directories instead, right? Okay, so we saw how to copy a file. There's the same command, but for directory, we have to actually add -r to make it recursive. You will see. We're going to look at that when we do move, when we do remove, deleting and moving. I just sneak peek here. Okay, so let's just quickly do it. Let's say we want to copy, let me go out one, cd back, right? ls, actually clear, ls. Let's say we want to copy sample one. So if I do copy sample one, right, to sample 1.1, it's going to say sample one is a directory. If you try to copy something and if you get this error, then you just have to remember, well, it's a directory, so I have to go recursive. I have to add one more option, which is -r. So you're going to do cp -r sample one. Then I'm going to copy to 1.1. There you go. If I do ls or ls-la, you can see sample one and sample 1.1 both exist. We're going to go here just to make it easy to see. When you can see the copy has everything in it. It didn't just copy the folder. It also copied the entire content of it. Okay. So that's pretty much what you do. You're going to do copy -r sample2 in the new name, new folder, and bam, there you go, ls-la, -la, and it is pretty much copy, new folder, right? So that's pretty much yeah, that's all for copy. The only thing you have to remember is if it's a folder, just to pass -r. cp for copy is quite easy to remember. And for Windows, it's a little bit different. It's not here. I'll add it here. I just noticed that. And I just asked ChatGPT again, idea. You learn the idea, the implementation, you always look it up. So I literally went to ChatGPT and I say, oh, for Mac or Linux, you do cp-r. How do you do exact same thing in Windows, right? So here we have sample one. So let's see how we copy it. cls, ls, oh, dir, right? Not ls, dir. Let's see, it says xcopy. Xcopy is something that actually exists, and the source is sample one. Then it says the destination is, I'm going to call it sample 1.1. Then to make it recursive, it says you have to put /e, and to make it, so copy even empty ones, you do /e, and to make it that, to let it know that the destination is also a folder, you do /i. All right, 0 files copied. But if we do dir, because there's no files in there, but the folder got created, but there's no files in there because we created this folder without any files in it, right? So now what happens is, I also want to, I don't want to just focus on command line. I want to actually give you general tips and ideas and suggestions and how to learn it. So obviously you're learning this, right? You're learning, you're new, so you always don't be afraid to try things out. Right now, I just showed you a command, right? /e/i. You should be thinking, hey, what happens if I don't do /e? What kind of error do I get? What happens if I don't do /i, right? What if I miss both of them? What if I miss one of them? What is the difference? You could look it up, obviously, but you should also try it, not just looking it up. Try it. As an engineer, your job is to basically, you problem solver, right? So you got to keep trying things. When you see something, you always have to think about, oh, what if I do it this other way? Especially as a QA, most of our job is trying to break something, right? You test the positive, but you also test the negative. That's a big part of it. So I just showed you an example of a command. This command I've never really used. I just looked it up right now. I asked ChatGPT to tell me how to do it, and I tried it. So if I was in recording, if I was just learning myself, I would try it. I would like literally remove this and see what happens, remove that and see what happens, and also think about what are the other options. Okay, so that's just a little side tip. So that's how we copy a directory in both Mac, Linux, and Windows. One other thing I forgot to explain about copy, we don't actually have to give it a destination name. It's not required. So for example, I want to copy a file. Let's see, let me clear this. Clear cd sample 1. I'm going to do a list. I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go to sample 2. So I want to copy foobar from sample 1 to sample 2. This might be a little bit easier to visualize, right? So I have sample 2 here. There's nothing in there. There's example 1 here. Let's say I want to copy foobar from sample 1 to sample 2, right? So what I can do is I can say copy cp, then I can go backwards / sample 1, okay, then foobar. That's a file name, right? And I can say just copy it here. I just do that to say here. If I do that and it copies it and it uses the same name, that's the difference. If I say copy it and give it a name dot here, new foobar.py, and it's going to copy with a new name. But if you just say copy the path of the file you want to copy, you can give it the full path of whatever you're trying to copy, then copy it into here. You can do that. There you go. You can see it, right? It got copied as is. It also got copied with a new name. Another thing is you can copy all the content of this directory into the current directory. Let's see, I want to go to sample 3. In fact, I will do it here too. If I say copy backwards one time, sample 1 / star. Star means a wildcard, like everything. In this case, when I do star, it means everything. And I say dot, I'm saying copy everything here. That is, oh, I say CD, not C. I mean CP, not CD. Copy. Okay, there you go. If I do ls, everything got copied. So what I said is go to this folder and copy every single thing to here. Let me do one more time. I'm going to go to sample 3. Oh, so it will override the files you already have, by the way, because in sample 2 we already have foobar, we already have example 1, so it's going to override that. So you kind of have to be careful when you're trying to copy everything to the current directory. So I'm going to go to sample 3 here. I'm going to say copy from sample 1 everything to here. So if I go back here just so I can show you, sample 3, there's nothing in it, it's empty. As soon as I hit enter, now sample 3 has everything that is in sample 1. Okay, one more example. I can just say copy everything that starts with the word new, right? So let me go to cd sample 4. Okay, if I do ls, there's nothing there. So I can say copy from sample 1 where new start. So anything that starts with the word new, copy it where? Copy it here. Hit enter. Now if I look at sample 4, all the files that exist here that start with the word new, basically 3 files, they got copied. So that's really useful using the wildcard. So I wanted to add that to this tutorial. Hopefully you were able to follow that. Again, try it out. You have to try it out. This is not something you learn by just looking at it. Okay. All right. Let's keep going.